Hello and welcome to Junior Achievement's virtual speaker series. Today we're going to be talking about asking the right questions and the opportunities that this can lead us to. Our guest today is Sondeep Purewal. Hello Sondeep, how are you?
I'm okay, Greg. How about
Excellent. I'm very good, thank you. And Sondeep, you describe yourself as an ambitious and driven sales professional who is passionate about helping our companies overcome problems to exceed their sales goals. You work with business owners, managers, and sales professionals every day to help fill the gap from where they are, where they want to be, through proven training and reinforcement. So Sondeep, can you set the stage a little bit more and tell us more what you do and who you interact with on a daily basis?
Absolutely. We work with business owners because a lot of times when we're in conversations with them, we find that the number one goal is to drive revenue so that they can expand, they can create growth, they can create changes in the organization. And our training specifically has been developed for those leaders, those sales managers, and those sales professionals to go ahead and achieve that so they can get more growth, more profit, more revenue to accomplish their goals.
So you're dealing with corporate companies, you're dealing with executives as well as line managers as well.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag between corporate to that mid-sized company that may want to get into that corporate level, or even that small entrepreneur salesperson who just wants to strengthen their game.
And that's a great match because one of our junior achievement programs talks about entrepreneurship. So we're always, talking to our students about how they build their brand, how do they do their pitches, and obviously during their pitches, there's a lot of, questions that they are asked during that process. So I think it's important that they understand how to answer and how to determine which questions are going to be asked, and therefore, flipping that also what questions they need to ask to be successful.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times when you're thinking about questions, you kind of have to map out what is your objective, right? If you're going to go into a pitch, what is your objective? What do you want to know beforehand? We also always preach that information is power. And the only way to get information is to ask the right questions. And questions can lead you to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
And that was one of my questions. And that's so key, is why is it important to know about asking the right questions?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to go out there and they want to hit, and get maybe the perfect job. Sometimes they want to get into some sort of relationship, for instance. And I believe that whether you're in the dating cycle, whether you are in the business world, you kind of have to go through this process of discovery to understand, is that job or is that person, for example, the right fit for you? And a lot of times people jump into these relationships blind, whether it's with your employer, whether it's even opening up your own company, for example, as well, right? There's a process of discovery that needs to happen in order to figure out, hey, is this good for me? Because sometimes people find after they jump into it, it might not be the best thing for them. And a lot of that is time that may get wasted, right? But questions that you either ask yourself or you ask other people, that gets you to the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, to figure out, hey, is this for me?
Right. And I think it's key to remember that asking the right questions is not just in, like you said, it's not just in the workforce. It may be, applying for a job. It may be at home. It may be negotiating with your parents.
Yeah.
So it's key to remember that this is, for the whole of your life, you're dealing with asking with the right questions and what opportunities can come available. I mean, if you learn to ask the questions and negotiate, I mean, just imagine, even if you had an allowance and you asked the right questions and negotiated, just increasing your allowance on a weekly basis would impact our students.
I think that all translates in the future to a higher conversation that you may have with, let's say, your employer. If you're not happy with the amount of money that you're making, for example, to go in and to ask the right questions like, hey, Mr. Manager, how would you review my performance in the last year, the last 3 years? What objectives would you like to see from me in the next coming year? Okay, well, I'm hoping to have a conversation with you and talk about my comp plan. I'm not too happy about my comp plan, but I'm hoping that we can have this conversation together and we can figure this out, right?
Right. So with our students listening, how would you advise them to read the situation in order to know when to ask these right questions?
When you don't know something, ask. When you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I get from point A to point B? Find someone who's already gotten to point B and ask them all of the right questions. If you're feeling a little uneasy about a certain situation, rather than retaliating, ask questions to understand. Empathy is one of the biggest things to use when you are communicating to other people. And the best way to communicate empathy is by asking the right questions, but also using our ears. Use your ears and listen. Listen before you respond.
And I think the key from my takeaway from this is research. Know the topic that you're discussing, know it well. As you said, reach out to other mentors, reach out to someone who's been in that situation and learn from them.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, this has been great, Sondeep. Thank you so much for joining us today on our virtual speaker series, and we'd love to have you back again.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.